Hi and welcome back. Okay, we're going to check the gap distance between the rings, the top and bottom rings. I've just removed the piston, put it aside. I've got the top and bottom rings out, and the bottom one was really hard. I had to put some little gloves on, and it was just digging into my fingers, just to being careful I didn't twist it so it would snap. So we just got to try the ring now in the top and bottom of the cylinder bore for a gap somewhere between 0.012 and 0.022. I've got the feeler gauges here, so I'll just go ahead and try that now and come back to you shortly to let you know how they were. So I've just tried these two rings inside the cylinder bore, both top side and bottom side, for the gap distance. The 0.012 feeler gauge went through easy. The 0.022 would not. So both these two rings are okay. On here, there's a little arrow that faces, when this piston goes into the cylinder bore, it must face back towards the actual flywheel. So I can go ahead now and position this one in, and we will push it in and check for the gap at the back of the piston to the top of the bore to see what distance we have to know how big our shims will go in, and we go from there. So I'll just get this set up now and we'll have a look in a second. Now, just a couple of other things to be aware of. The little snap ring in the back, make sure one at least is in spot. I've got all my snap rings inside here, so it's one of the things that you'd hate to put all this heads together and or like all the pistons in spot together and forget one of the little retaining rings. So I've got that ready to install now. Now the other thing is the arrow, obviously it faces back. I'm going to face one of the gaps of the ring facing aft towards the flywheel, and one facing towards the prop hub, just ensuring that the two gaps between the rings are at opposite ends of the piston. So I've got my ring compressor. I'll put a bit of oil around this now and sit it in spot, and hopefully it goes in okay. Okay, we'll give this a bit of a shot. Gap there, arrow there. Okay, arrow that way. So arrow is facing aft, down. That's it. Okay. Is that going to go in there? Now I'm going to give that a little bit of a hone out. Right. Okay, I've got my cylinder at top dead center, I hope. And now I'm just going to make sure that's in inches. 0 inches. And we're going to try the play on here. So we'll just open this up. Just double check it. 0 it. Okay, we have a 0.13, so 0.013 inches. So according to this, if our cylinder is above the bore, then that is a negative. So let's just double check. Plus means the piston is below the top of the cylinder, so we're above, so that means it's negative. So I've got a negative height of 0.01. Where is my little gauge gone? There he is. 0.013, so 0.01 to 0.04, somewhere between there. So this is our shims we need. Head gaskets always remain the same, so we've got a 0.9, a 0.4 and a 0.4. Start again, sorry, a 0.9, a 0.6 and a 0.4. So 0.25 total shims inside there. So we've got shims are available. We've got 0.9, So we'll need a 0.9, a 0.6, 0.6, and a 0.4, and a 0.4. That's it. That's it. So I don't know what those ones are for. That's that's 0.6 as well. Okay, so that's what we've got. If I've done that correctly, that's the shims I need. So I need a total of 3 shims. Start again. A 0.9, a 0.6, and a 0.4. I'm going to highlight this so I don't stuff it up, because there's my negative. And also the copper head gasket. So that's the 4 gaskets that I need on each cylinder. So I'm going to go ahead and check each cylinder now. According to Sonex, you don't really need to do that, but it's not going to hurt. So I'll go and check them all to make sure that I've got exactly the same for all 4 cylinders. So there's the first one done. I'll leave that in spot, and I'll just try the other 3 now. Come back to you shortly. Okay, just checked number 2 cylinder, and it's pretty much fairly close to it. It's about 0.1 or something like that, or 0.12 something. So we are within the same range. Sorry, 0.1. So 0.1 and above that, but below the 0.4. I mean, like, it's when you push that little gauge in there, it's just, there's nothing in it. Like, it's so like, I can't even hardly feel that lip, but I'm guessing it does make a difference. So there you have it. So it must bring that, by the time we put the shims in, it's got to bring it out quite a fair distance, doesn't it? But anyway, I'll go ahead and check the other 2 on this side now and see how they go, and then I can start shimming it up. Come back to you shortly. Here's the 3rd one done. It's again, it's a negative height above. It's above the cylinder, and it was about sort of more than the 0.1, but it was sort of well below the 0.4. So it was, I think the first one was around about 0.12. This is about 0.7 or 0.7, so it's getting close to the 0.1. Anyway, we're going okay, so let's do number 4. Okay, there's the last one done. It's all in spot. All arrows are facing back towards the flywheel. I've just got to double check the positioning of the rings when I pull them all apart again. So the process is now I'll take them all out, put the shims in, and put them back in, and start to do the heads, I guess, and start tightening all these things up. Come back to you shortly. Okay, I'm ready to put the number 3 former gasket goo on, and put the spacers on each of the first 2 cylinders on this side. Then I will put the head on and just torque it up a little bit to work out what rods have to be cut. So let me get it started onto this now, and I'll see how we go in the next hour or so. Okay, I've got gasket goo, the #1 form of gasket, and the 3 spaces around the first cylinder, so I'm going to throw it onto the block now, just to see how we go. Okay, the final stage, this super tin's got to go on somehow. Ooh. That's it. That's it. Okay, I just had a bit of a look at this to see if there was only one way the super tin can go on, but it does appear that it goes on the face of the fins this way, because there seems to be enough gap at the top of the cylinder for that to go back. So time for the head gaskets. Two of. Just before I put this head on, I'll just show you the modification that is done for an aeroplane engine. Here's the original spark plug hole for the V-dub, and here is the secondary set of spark plugs for the aircraft engine, having 2 sets of sparks. So it's drilled in through here. I've had to give that a bit of a clean out, so that's all ready to go. 2 copper washers, and lay that in there. Just bump the camera. that. And this push rod, let's pull that out a bit. 1, 2, 3. These are the push rod little casings to allow the rods to stay inside between the two engine casing and the head, so we don't lose any oil that's inside there. And it's just little rubber seals on there, something like that anyway, if I'm right. That's that. Okay, we'll just put these on, a big fat washer. There's always one that's got to be awkward, isn't there? Oh dear. Okay. Okay, that's that. Okay, that's that. I might just nip these up to 10 pound-feet, I think it is. 7 to 10 pound-feet, then up to 18. But I've got to look at what I've got to cut on here. I think I've got to cut these off that interferes with something around here, if I recall, and I think 2 of these have got to interfere. So I'll just go and grab the components and I'll just try them to see what I have to cut off. Okay, there's half the engine complete, both torqued up now from 10 through to 18 foot-pounds. Just blocked a few of the holes, cut all the nuts off. I think I'll cut the nuts off that side first before I put the head on this time, because it was a little bit hard to get some of them out. But anyway, we got there in the end. So there's half done. I'll get on to the other side now. Okay, I have completed that part of the process, both on. I guess I'm happy with it. Just want to finish up by thanking everyone that comments, and in particular Brian Cotton, who's been absolutely instrumental in everything and every bit of advice that he's given me throughout this build. He's gone to the trouble of sending me personal emails and a wide range of photos and tools to buy and all many things. So again, Brian, I just want to thank you personally for that. And there's been about 3 or 4 people on YouTube that have commented, and I would love dearly to be able to meet them one day. But anyway, digressing and just moving aside for the one moment, the last bit of advice that Brian gave was just not only ensuring obviously that the arrow pointed back towards the flywheel for the tops of the pistons, but underneath the pistons there's also another bit of writing now, or like a detailed numbering, if you will, for that particular piston. Now, it was too late for that advice that Brian gave me, because I'd already done half of the head. I just finished the other half this morning, so it was too late for that. But what he was suggesting was just take a note of each of the pistons, in case the arrow does burn off or gets carboned up or whatever reason when you're going to do some work on the engine at a later stage. Now, he gives a whole bunch of advice. There's one other thing that I've got to get my head around, and I'll go through that when I do get onto that. But just the other thing too, I just wanted to mention is that Joe said at one stage, just be very careful with the little pin or the spring washer that holds the gudgeon pin. I'm going to call it a gudgeon pin. I don't know what name everyone else calls it. That holds the piston inside of the conrod. And sure enough, it let go, and I heard it hit the underside of the ceiling of this shed, and then I just shut my eyes and concentrated on the noise it was going to make to see if I could work out where it landed, because there's no way I was going to see it. And it made that ping on the concrete noise, and spent about 10 minutes looking for that little spring washer. And then I did it again, but this time it just fell short of the table, so does my head in. But anyway, I've got a completed engine block. I'm happy with it. Before I get on to the the measuring of the rods themselves, going against these little blokes, I'm just going to finish off. There's a screen underneath and the oil pump at the front, just to get that done, and I'll just film that as well, because I didn't go out of sequence to the book. Well, I suppose I probably did, but I just wanted to get these heads on and done, and I don't really think it's going to be a problem if I just whip the body of the engine block up and then do the screen from underneath. I can always get to the other bit at the front there. But there you have it. It's completed so far. Hopefully there was no issues with it, and hopefully I've done it right. I must have self-doubted myself 30 times. I remember doing all the pistons, and then I thought, have I got them all up the right way? So I took them all out of the cylinders themselves and checked every single one of them. There was one number that was slightly rubbed off that I didn't really see, but maybe I rubbed it off as I was putting it together. But that said, they did have one orientation only, and there was a little bit of a chamfer on each of the rings, the compression rings. And I think they faced, off memory, they both faced in the up position, as well as obviously the numbering said that. So I'm closing off. I'll go and post this now. Thank you again to everyone that comments, and in particular Brian Cotton. Again, I can't say enough. He's been very, very, very helpful. The last bit of information he also gave me too was a little tool that's going to go on the back of the seal here. I've had a little bit of a look on Google at the moment. It looks like, on eBay, and it looks like I'm only going to get them from America. Nothing's available in Australia, but I'm sure they have them. Anyway, there it is, closed off, and we'll come back to you shortly.